This episode's TikTok liberal is the first male homecoming queen.
Here with us tonight to crown this year's homecoming is the Bruin Bear. And now, Rock Bridge, your 2021 homecoming queen is Zachary Wilman. Congratulations, Zachary, and to the entire homecoming royalty team. Best wishes to everyone. You all look great, and you represent us well.
All right, so if you're listening to this on the audio, you have this guy that's dressed up almost, I mean, it looks like I don't even think this is actually somebody that's trying to be trans or anything like that, because they still very much look like a dude. Like, it's pretty obvious. But they're wearing this dress, and they've got their hair all done like some really, like, almost like James Charles, some like really gay kind of guy in this dress. And they announce that he wins the homecoming queen. And all of these people just start screaming and cheering this dude on, when I don't even understand why they're doing that. The thing is that this is another situation where liberals involved, I don't think they really intended to do this, but inadvertently, they're basically saying, hey, look, men are better at being women than women are being women. I mean, that couldn't be more obvious here, because at a certain point, you have to wonder, why is it that the left's goal is to try to get men to replace the spots where women used to be? This isn't cool. This isn't fashionable. This isn't something that's progressive. This is a step way back, because what you're doing is you're literally making women disappear. You're saying, women, you don't matter. All those platforms and places where you were maybe your safe kind of places, where your pageants, your homecoming queen, the things that many women aspire to, that's been taken over by men. The sports you like, oh, the men are the star players on this team. Everything that women are doing has been basically destroyed, or is in the process of being destroyed, by men. And the left is cheering it on. It's no wonder to me why they keep calling women birthing people, because they're trying to get rid of the actual meaning of what it is to be a woman. Womanhood is under attack in America. It's an obvious thing that's been happening for years. They're trying to do this over and over again. So that's why I'm not cheering this on. But, the thing is that they are working as hard as possible to blot out any mention of being a female, what it is meant to be a female. They're trying to get rid of that at all times. But what disturbs me most about this entire video is the fact that you have these kids in the background screaming and cheering this mess on. I said that there was going to be a story where I talked about this earlier in the show, and this is it. This is what happens when you have kids that are conditioned to think that this mess right here is cool. That this is the hip thing to do. To have all of this, these men take over the roles from what women had and call it progressive, and cheer this guy on to take the place of what would have been a woman. He had to beat women to be here, by the way. And that's where we're at. Now, I want to know who in the world voted for this. I have no idea who they used to do this. It probably wouldn't have even mattered, because people would have just done it anyways, because progressive, right? That's all this is about. But these kids, this is the product of that. This is why we can't let kids continue to go along with the mess that's being spewed out by these teachers, by the liberal school boards and everything else like that, because it leads just to students, by the time they get into high school and college, they think this crap's cool, and it's not cool. And if you stand against it, if you're a kid that's a Christian or whatever, and you're against this kind of stuff, you're called a bigot. You're the one that's being discriminated against all of a sudden. The school probably is going to punish you as a result of it. They've done it before, where we saw the hypocrisy with BLM. I mean, you could hang up BLM posters all day, but you hang up anything else saying all lives matter, and they would take it down, because they called that political, but they didn't think BLM was political. Guys, this right here is political. They don't believe that, but it is. It's a political message to tell you that men are taking over the place of women, and that women are no longer welcome in the same places where they used to be. That men are going to be better at it, so let them win, call it progressive, and shut up. And just continue to be birthing people. That's what they're doing here. But how many of these students also do this conform to this, cheer this stuff on just to fit in. Kids have always done things to fit in with the crowd. So if they're being called a bigot for not agreeing, many of them are probably just going to go along with it and cheer it right along because they don't know any better. We're in for a rude awakening in the next 5 to 10 years. I can promise you that. Because all of this, all the fruits of the left's labor of getting the children young, early, started in this progressive stuff is going to start resulting in people that are voting this way, that are growing up this way, thinking that the world is entitled to them. And they're in for a rude awakening too when they realize that the world doesn't care about their whatever their things are, their pronouns, their specific this and that. But that's what we're seeing right now. This is what happens when they push an ideology so early on. This is why we need to take back our schools. It's why we need to get back control of common sense in America, in the public school system. Making sure that parents are actually educating their children and not the teachers. Specifically when it comes down to their morality, their religious behavior, any of that stuff. I remember when it was just the colleges that were the ones that were trying to push this progressive ideology. But notice how there's been a trickle-down effect. Then it was the high schools. Then it was the middle schools. Now we see kids all the way down to kindergarten being taught things about BLM, racial equality, and not the equality you think. We're talking about racial equity. That's what they're being taught right now. So we must take back our schools, or we've lost the next generation entirely. You just watched a clip from The William Hall Show. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe.